In this clip, we see footage from Mountain View, Arkansas, suggesting that something unusual may have been drawn to the solar eclipse on April 6, 2024. Just days before the eclipse, two friends staying at an Airbnb in the Arkansas mountains had an experience that made their night of stargazing unforgettable. Around 8:10 p.m., while waiting for others on the deck, they began hearing heavy footsteps in the surrounding woods. The steps grew closer and closer, until whatever was making them seem to be right beside them. What makes this case especially intriguing is what the camera revealed. Although the witnesses saw nothing at the time, Rocky Mountain Sasquatch's analysis of the footage uncovered something chilling. When enhanced slightly, a distinct arm and hand appear to reach out from behind a tree, with what seems to be long hair hanging from it. The cryptid research community has long noted that sightings often spike around major astronomical events. Could this entity have been drawn out by the approaching eclipse? Is a possibility worth considering. And it raises the question, are cryptids more likely to reveal themselves in the time frame surrounding these rare cosmic occurrences? Between Columbia Falls and Glacier National Park, in what local skier Julian describes as an unbelievably remote area, something massive left its mark in the untouched snow. The photographs reveal a series of deep impressions, each track significantly larger than Julian's ski boots. And if you know ski boots, you know they're not small. What makes these prints especially intriguing is an unusual detail. In one of the tracks, two toes appear to be fused together. Experts who examined the photos noted that the immense stride length and the depth of each impression suggests something extremely heavy had passed through. Wildlife researchers add that known predators in the region, such as grizzlies, wouldn't typically be moving through snow this deep at this time of year. Perhaps most compelling of all is the linear pattern of the tracks, indicating that whatever made them was walking upright on two legs. Could this be fresh evidence of Montana's most elusive resident? You know who. Anytime you venture into the woods at night, there's always a sense of risk, but nothing could have prepared this hiker for what their camera ended up capturing. The creature's gaunt, pale form is unmistakable, and when the light hits its eyes, they shine back with an unnatural glow, unlike anything seen in a human or known animal. In 2014, hunter Michael Green was deep within Uwharrie National Forest, his thermal camera in hand as he often was. Having done this countless times before, he was familiar with the routine. However, that night, something felt different. His thermal camera detected a heat signature, large, upright, and moving in an unusual manner through the trees. Critics quickly dismissed the footage, calling it blurry and inconclusive, with nothing of significance. But Michael disagreed. He was certain of one thing: that wasn't human. To this day, no one has been able to confirm or refute what he saw. So what was it? Simply a person, an animal, or something else lurking in the shadows of Uwharrie? When Reddit user Darkroom2027 and his family moved into their Victorian-era home last month, his kids began exploring the property, as kids do. Among some items left behind by previous owners, they discovered a single photograph. The image shows what appears to be a woman, but something is deeply unsettling. Where one of her eyes should be, there's only a dark, empty socket. She wears a wide, eerie smile, and in her hands, it looks like she has 6 or 7 fingers. What makes it even more disturbing is the background. The same wallpaper seen throughout the top floor is still in the house today. The uploader points out that the frame in the photo was hanging empty in their daughter's room when they moved in. There's more. Over her right shoulder, the side opposite to which she's leaning, there's a closet in the photo. When the family first arrived, the door was locked. Eventually, they cut it open, revealing a tiny room about the size of a jail cell. While it could have been used as a closet, the uploader is convinced that whatever is in the picture, whatever that thing is, that's where it lived. Deep in the woods, where the darkness feels almost alive, a camper's ordinary night quickly spiraled into something out of a nightmare. The footage you're about to see begins with a weary man inside his tent. He switches on his camera, and what follows is anything but ordinary. through the tear in his tent, he came face to face with something Native American folklore has warned about for centuries, a Wendigo. Before he could even process what he was seeing, armed figures burst from the tree line in active pursuit of the creature. The paranormal community has found this case especially fascinating. Some believe these figures were government agents tracking the entity, while others suggest they were seasoned hunters who had been stalking it for months. What makes the footage even more compelling is the Wendigo's sheer aggressiveness. It appears to have shredded the tent with violent force. There's a lot happening in this clip, and I have just as many questions as you probably do. I'd love to hear your theories on this one. A Reddit user captured a photo late at night, not paying much attention until they examined it more closely. Behind a house, something white was just barely visible. It wasn't smoke or a glare from a light. It resembled a person, or at least a humanoid figure, partially obscured and stationary. No one had witnessed it in real time. Only the camera had recorded it. On a frigid January evening, at exactly 6:40 p.m., a trail camera captured something extraordinary along a remote dirt road. In the darkness, two figures appeared, one standing still in the center of the path, and another, far more mysterious, lingering to the left. What makes this image especially gripping is the left figure's distinctive form. Those familiar with the Fresno nightcrawler phenomenon will recognize its leg-like body, almost resembling the lower half of a deer, standing upright, yet moving with that strange, mechanical motion the creatures are known for. The paranormal community remains divided. Some dismiss it as nothing more than a deer alongside a person in a winter coat. Others point to the unnatural stance and the unsettling fact that this was the only image the camera transmitted that night. Despite its instant send capabilities, could these elusive beings be venturing beyond their usual California territory? And perhaps the bigger question, why only one photo? Meanwhile, a family began noticing peculiar holes appearing in their backyard fence. Curious, they reviewed their security footage to uncover the cause, and what they discovered was far more than they had anticipated. Late at night, a humanoid figure emerged. At one moment, it seemed to attempt breaking through. No one knows exactly what the entity was, but the footage is enough to send chills down anyone's spine. Fortunately for the family, whatever it was, never managed to cross over. Grazing in the distance was a creature that perfectly fit historical descriptions of a unicorn. Not the rainbow-colored cartoon image we all know, but something far more primal and majestic, with that unmistakable spiral horn rising from its head. This footage has captivated viewers, especially since it aligns closely with medieval accounts of unicorn sightings. In those times, the creatures weren't portrayed as magical beings, but rather as wild, elusive animals that few ever encountered. A hiker and his family were traveling through a vast expanse of the Appalachian meadows. At some point in the middle of that empty field, they encountered a woman. Suddenly, she snapped without warning.
I have kids in the car. You better go. I have kids in the car. You better go.
What?
Who is that? Who is that?
They're calling me a damn fucking kid!
I got you on video. You better get back.
Jeff's after you.
Jeff's right there. He ain't doing shit.
You're the one to say something about my damn son! And I got it all over recorder.
No one is quite sure what caused her to react or what was going on. Fortunately, she eventually settled down, and the hiker drove away. Deep within the Blackfoot Reservation of Siksika, Alberta, where the ancient Rockies meet tribal land, something remarkable was caught on camera. But it isn't just what the lens revealed that stands out. It's what was left behind in the soil. Investigators discovered not one, but multiple tracks in the area, including what some are calling unprecedented, a smaller set of footprints suggesting the presence of a juvenile Sasquatch. That's right, this could be evidence of family groups moving through these protected territories. Cryptozoologists find the location especially compelling. These tribal lands offer something increasingly rare, vast stretches of untouched wilderness, safeguarded from modern development. Across the Rocky Mountain range, a pattern seems to be emerging. The beings appear to follow ancient pathways, roots long known to indigenous peoples, seeking protection within them. But here's what sets this case apart. These aren't just transient tracks. The presence of juvenile prints hints at something far more profound, that these creatures may not simply be passing through, but living here, raising families in these sacred spaces. So, the question remains, have these beings found sanctuary in the last places where nature's rights are still honored and preserved? One evening, as he was relaxing on the couch, a man observed something unusual peering through the screen door. Initially, he believed it might be a cow or perhaps a goat, but as he continued to watch, its appearance became increasingly baffling. It lacked ears and its posture seemed strange and unnatural. Its front half was upright, while the back appeared folded underneath, resembling a kneeling position. To this day, no one has determined what it was or what its intentions might have been. In 2009, an experienced outdoorsman named Philip set out to document what was supposed to be a routine solo camping trip. The early footage shows nothing unusual, just a seasoned camper setting up his site in the rain, the kind of content Philip often shared with his viewers. As night fell and the rain eased, he relaxed by his campfire, appearing completely at ease, fully comfortable with the solitude of the wilderness. But in the final moments of his last upload, something terrifying unfolds, something that would change the tone of the trip entirely.
I'm just sitting here chilling out. So that's very cool. Should have brought the four-wheeler up. Cool. Well, it's starting to sprinkle out here, so I moved up under the tent. Big bed. Plenty of room over here. It's raining, so... Well, it's more sprinkling than anything, but I just want to leave it like that. Rain. It's kind of calmed down a lot now. It's really not as bad. It's not bad, though. I'm kind of on I kind of positioned the tent on a hill, so it'll all kind of wash down the hill and won't really mess with me. I've checked the inside of the tent out, inside the room there, and everything seems about 2 minutes, maybe 10 minutes after I just talked to you the last time, it started pissing the rain. Oh my God. Man, I've been hearing shit out in the woods, man. Like a growling and like a grunting. I don't know what to really say, man. You know? It's one of those things that you just like, you start walking out and you look at, and then fucking nothing's there. That shit was out there, but man, there's something making that.
The footage ends abruptly, and that's where our investigation takes an even darker turn. While the video claimed Philip went missing that night, extensive searches of local news archives and 2009 missing persons reports show no record of anyone matching his description vanishing in those woods. Game trackers and wildlife experts analyzing the final frames have been unable to identify what attacked Philip's camp. Even more unsettling is the question of who uploaded the footage. If Philip truly disappeared that night, could this point to something sinister lurking in those woods? Or is there an even darker truth behind the video's origins? So, what do you think really happened to Philip? A woman named Morgan resides deep within the secluded areas of the Appalachian Mountains. She frequently posts about her paranormal experiences online, but one frightening encounter keeps recurring. Morgan has repeatedly recorded the same eerie figure on camera. It resembles her husband in height and build, yet it never turns around. It always faces away. However, this isn't the only terrifying thing she's captured.
I'm at my family's haunted farm. I was gonna come explore with my husband today, but he couldn't get off from work because he's boring, so thought I'd bring you guys.
Several times her audio devices have captured the eerie noise of Appalachian hay, a strange phenomenon where a sound originating deep within the woods imitates human voices. The Logos suspect that the mountains are inhabited by mimics, entities that assume the appearance and voice of trusted individuals. Back in 1994, a woman and her family were camping near the remote woods of Columbia County, Ohio. Around midnight, a long, eerie howl shattered the silence. It was loud enough to wake them, and so unsettling they packed up and left right away. Before leaving, they managed to capture the sound on recording. The howl didn't match any known animal. It was deep, drawn out, and featured a strange pitch shift halfway through, almost as if it was trying to communicate. Some guessed it was a wolf, others thought it sounded human, but wildlife experts couldn't identify it. The clip later became known as the Ohio Howl, a possible Bigfoot sighting. Then, in July 2022, another similar howl was recorded in Ohio. Shortly after, a Reddit user posted yet another recording from the same region. What's your take? Could it be normal wildlife, or something far more mysterious? Late last month, wildlife photographer Marcus Chin was testing out new 2025 camera gear from his sponsors. He set up camp and unpacked everything in Washington's Olympic National Forest. Around 2:00 a.m., his motion sensors went off, lighting up his phone and waking him. What he saw in the image was astounding. A massive figure with gleaming eyes and jet black fur, its face carrying an almost human-like expression. Marcus couldn't believe what he was seeing. Keep in mind, he has 6 or 8 cameras set up all around his campsite. He wasn't on an expedition. He was simply testing his equipment, and through the night he may have just hit the jackpot. Now, if I play devil's advocate for a moment, a few questions come to mind. The creature looks incredibly well groomed for a wild animal. Maybe it's just the way the light hits its fur. But zooming in, its face almost looks like it's freshly groomed, like a trip to the barber. On the other hand, the creature is extremely broad and muscular. Any human trying to wear a suit like that would have a heck of a time filling it out. I'll leave this one up to you. Drop your thoughts in the comments, and thanks to Marcus for sending this in. While exploring a mountain river deep within the Appalachian forest, a group of Russian tourists claimed to have spotted a massive dark creature. It featured an oddly cone-shaped head and unusually long arms that extended above the water. The creature briefly turned to face them, locking eyes in a few tense and unsettling moments. Then, as suddenly as it had appeared, it vanished into the thick woods. The true identity of the creature remains unknown, but its description strongly resembles that of Bigfoot. This clip is actually a photograph, and it might just be the follow-up to the most famous Bigfoot footage ever captured. Just 1 year after the legendary Patterson-Gimlin film shocked the world, photographer Thomas Anderson ventured into Northern California's Bluff Creek area with professional camera equipment. He spent weeks tracking something in these remote woods. One night, deep in the wilderness, Anderson heard unusual guttural sounds echoing through the darkness. The next morning, movement caught his eye. What his camera captured is extraordinary. A massive figure covered in dark hair, partially hidden behind the trees. Anderson froze, staying perfectly still as the creature moved into a clearing. It could only be one thing. Broad-shouldered, with hairy arms reaching down to its knees. A trait commonly noted in Bigfoot sightings, but nearly impossible to replicate with a typical costume. After capturing several photos, the creature lumbered off into the woods. Back in town the following week, Anderson tried multiple times to share his evidence, but no one seemed interested. The photos remained hidden for years. Many experts now argue that this could be the clearest glimpse yet of the same creature caught on the Patterson-Gimlin film. It's compelling footage. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. A hiker was traversing Gettysburg's big round-top trail when everything seemed ordinary until they reached the last stone wall at the summit. Suddenly, footsteps echoed all around, stopping whenever they did. Initially, they thought it was just sound bouncing off the rocks, but the noise came from every direction. Then, the unmistakable clip-clop of horse hooves appeared. Remaining calm, they decided to leave quickly. Strangely, almost all of their photos came out blurry, despite keeping the camera steady, and one image captured a strange figure. The next photo, taken just seconds later, did not show it, though it might simply be a blur. To them, it felt like something more than that. Isn't the world crazy enough already? Now it looks like the earth is trying to swallow our pets. I've seen similar clips before, but this one really makes me wonder. Is it real? Seems like those trees should just fall over if their roots aren't connected. Maybe I'm missing something. The footage from this home security camera in Appalachia revealed something intriguing.
Ooh, do it one more time.
Yep.
That's amazing.
See if I can go, oops, slower.
Yeah.
Because it's curious.
Oh my goodness. You see the legs on that sucker? Girl, what?
It's a
Are
hornet.
you kidding? No,
It's a hornet.
when did hornets start looking like
Look
that?
at that.
That is not no hornet, and a hornet where?
During the middle of the day, something zipped past. Small, quick, and strangely shaped. The woman initially believed it was a hornet, but her friend insisted it resembled a fairy. Was it merely an insect, or could it have been something more fantastical, visible in broad daylight? In 2017, a hiker calling himself Mostly Harmless set out to hike the Appalachian Trail from New York to Florida. He carried no identification or phone, only a notebook filled with handwritten code. Along the journey, he introduced himself as Denim, or Mostly Harmless. Traveling solo, those who met him described him as friendly, quiet, and somewhat off the grid. Trail angels provided him with food, water, and even showers, which he accepted quietly with gratitude. Then, in July 2018, 2 hikers found a tent deep in the Florida wilderness. Inside was the body of a man curled up in his sleeping bag, showing no signs of violence or struggle. His food supplies had run out. In weighing just 83 pounds, his body showed clear signs of starvation. Without any ID or phone, identifying him was impossible. Despite clear photos, fingerprints, and numerous tips, he remained unidentified for over 2 years. It wasn't until 2021, when DNA testing was conducted, that he was finally identified as Vance Rodriguez, a tech worker from New York with a troubled past. The reason behind his disappearance into the wilderness remains a mystery, but many will always remember him as Mostly Harmless. Cody had been living on his property for 22 years when something unusual occurred.
So I was mowing the yard yesterday and seen this little square patch of grass. It's never been here before. It's dead. When I drove over it, it kind of sank. And I came over here with the shovel and tapped on it. Let me get a little closer. It's some kind of door. I've been here 22 years and this has never been here before. So I really don't know what to think about it. But about 1944, there was a old cabin here that burnt down, and it may be some kind of well or a storm cellar or something. I may dig it up if enough people show any kind of interest in it and want to know what it is.
While mowing the yard, he observed a gentle area of grass that was previously absent. Intrigued, he examined it closely and found a concealed door beneath the grass. Extracting it was challenging, but finally, he succeeded in opening it.
Well, it wasn't easy, but it's open. I don't know if it's an old septic or an old well. It's way out here in the field away from everything, but I had about a 15-foot stick of conduit. I stuck it down in there and couldn't touch the bottom. And I do have an old pump. I'm gonna stick in there and pump all the water out and see what in the world is down there. There's no telling, as long as it ain't an old septic. I see what y'all think. If anybody knows, let me know. But that's what it was. Had no idea it was here, so now y'all know.
It resembled either an ancient well or perhaps a storm shelter. With a long metal stick, He couldn't even reach the bottom. That evening, strange noises began emanating from beneath his house. He took a camera and went downstairs to explore what was causing the sounds.
What the fuck? Nope. Fuck out of here. That's your fault.
What he captured was not merely creepy, but downright frightening. What are your thoughts?